Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome in to another episode of the Penny Bloom Podcast. It is I, Colton Robertson, and today I am joined by none other than Joseph George. What's up, homie?
What up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here. Joe Earth 616 reporting here.
Yes. I'm actually Earth 813. So don't know how we're convening here, but here we are. We're here to discuss Multiverse of Madness. Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness. It's long awaited. If you're a Patreon subscriber of the podcast at patreon.com/CoroBloom, you'll know that since January, we have had one episode a month on Patreon speculating and discussing stuff about Multiverse of Madness. And it was coincidental. It wasn't like we planned for that to happen. It was, we happened to have something that came up in the news, in discussion, to go, let's talk Multiverse of Madness today. And that was 5 fucking times over the last 5 months before this movie came out. So we've clearly been excited.
The hype has been built for this movie.
It has indeed. And it was built to a point that I was like, months ago, 6 months ago, 7, 8, a year ago, whenever we're thinking about what this movie would be, it's not what we got.
Not at all. I'd say the majority of Marvel fans were probably disappointed with this movie.
Which is just...
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm 100%. You're right. It's I love this movie. Now, I don't know that it is critically the best movie we've ever gotten. I think there's some writing that's lackluster. I think it's a little it's fast. It needed to be fast, though. They kind of do that. They have these fast stories that need to be fast, so they make them fast. And but directorially, it was the most stylistically emphasized film. I thought prior to this, Eternals did a really good job of being an original Marvel product, but compared to this, Eternals looks like a normal Marvel product. And I just mean that from a directorial standpoint. Like, it's like there's some beautiful shit going on in a lot of other movies. But man, did Raimi know what he's doing behind the camera. And I'm not even like a Raimi stan or defendant or anything. Like, it's like, if he'd have done bad, he'd have done bad. But he didn't. He didn't at all.
He's kind of the godfather of my childhood. So I'll suck his dick every now and then,
every once
for
in a
whatever
while.
he does. But like, this is just like, he just did well with this one. This is not any just cult following of him that I think that we're saying this. Like, it was very distinctive. And I like the shots I'm thinking of is whenever like the Darkhold's being accessed and you see these like blending shots between like different different like universes, and then you see like sometimes like Strange is doing something that is directly paralleling like what Wanda's doing. And it's just like the complete opposite. Like, he is, finding the book of
Vishanti.
Was it a V? So Vishanti. Okay. So he was finding the book of Vishanti while Wanda's like found the original copy of like the Darkhold. It's like, these two, like all these two things are happening, and like the blending shots between them, like the fading into one. Like, I don't know.
The extremes on both sides. It's Octu and Exegol out here. You know what I'm saying? It's it's Mount Wundagore and it's the Book of Vishanti. This movie's premise was incredibly simple, incredibly easy. I kind of want to start spoiler free, so as to just kind of generally discuss for a while. So yeah, you get the idea of the Darkhold versus the Vishanti, the Book of Vishanti. But beyond that, we won't give away too many plot details for the first 15 minutes or so. It was pretty incredible. I thought that the plot was extremely, like, deceptively simple. You got these ideas floating around that should be like, oh my God, this is going to be convoluted. That was my number one concern with this movie, was that it was going to be messy, that it was going to be convoluted, that we weren't going to get to the point. Like, it was going to kind of just be like, woohoo, prancing around the multiverse. Here we go. Here we go. Nah, it was good.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
They figured out a way to make this story tight, cohesive, small. Like,
it was not, I mean, even though we're traveling through the multiverse and everything is crazy and we see crazy things happening, but like, it's just between 3 characters pretty much.
Yeah.
4, you know, if like you're throwing Wong in there. But like,
right.
It's really just about 3 characters. No.
Christine's pretty important.
Yeah, Christine's pretty big.
Which was a pleasant surprise for me. I think Christine's the heart of Doctor Strange's stories thus far. And this just amplified that like crazy. And we'll get more to that dynamic here in a little bit when we can go spoiler free, but Rachel McAdams getting to pop up in this movie, cash a fucking check and dominate it at the same time. I love that. Love every second of that. She definitely one of my favorite performances in the movie, but favorite performance in the movie has to be Elizabeth Olsen.
Oh my God. Talk about some, like, we talk about in our 52 journey through film, like the Academy moments that, you know, the actress has and like why we're thinking of them for nominating them for that award. And like, there's one scene that I'm thinking like in specific for Wanda. Like, I'm pretty sure her performance shines like in this very emotional scene. But I mean, like, not just the parts that want to make you cry were like her good parts. Like, she was very, I don't know if that's good, but like very intimidating, like at the same time. Like, she's the loving mother, but as well as like she's the Scarlet Witch, you know, and and it's, I don't know, it's very, there was some badass lines in there that Wanda gave out.
One thing I'm not concerned with spoiling is that Wanda is the villain. Because they set that tone within the first 10 minutes. Like, you know she's the villain very fast. And it was only a question going into the theater, and once you were there, you knew. They set that up quick, and that scene where they get us there, it's like, wow.
Boom.
Okay, we're in it. Let's do this shit. America Chavez, played by Zactiel Gomez, was fucking awesome. Did not expect to care about and like this character as much as I do. Leaving the movie, I really, really fuck with America Chavez and look forward to whatever story she can be involved in going forward. And knowing she'll be tied to Doctor Strange here on, it's pretty cool.
All these females that are just going to the front right now.
Yep.
You got Kate Bishop. Well, I mean, Yelena, I don't really, she's like on a different team, but now America Chavez, Rambeau. Who else do we have? I feel like there's one more that I'm missing.
Maybe Jia Ling.
Yeah, kind of in the same boat with Yelena. Oh yeah,
yeah. We got stuff
like these new Avenger types.
Yeah,
these new Avenger types, and I feel like America Chavez, she's just going to be a very, very useful. Just, I mean, with her power set now, like, I mean, she can travel through the multiverse, and that's what you know.
As much as she can,
you know, and I mean, that's just a very useful power moving forward, I feel, for the new Avengers and whatever they happen to, you know, who knows if like this will all be resolved and the multiverse will be fixed somehow, who knows, but like I would assume not for a while. And I think that we'd have to be
especially now that we've introduced a character like America whose whole thing is based around the multiverse, and it seems like she'll have a story eventually that it's integral that she has access to the multiverse. Therein she should, like, I don't want the multiverse to shut until she can find her moms again. But
true.
That
was sweet.
That was sweet. Let's talk soundtrack. How you feeling about
right now?
You feeling good about Danny Elfman's score?
A lot of like guitar riffs, like which was like kind of a weird stylistic. Like, it seemed weird at first, but then like it was it was cool on second watch because
second watch I knew it was coming, and I'm like, all right, yeah. This is they're going for that 90s stylistic old school superhero horror movie. Like they did a really good job there.
On the piano.
But it's funny, like I listened to Michael Giacchino's The Batman score on repeat for like a month. And that kind of like set the tone in terms of like me knowing how much I love a soundtrack. Because it was just so effectively used in the film. It was weaved in and out so great. Like the moments where the score swells up, nail it. And there are moments that work in this movie musically. Specifically one moment that works musically very well. And we'll get to that.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, I can only be talking about one thing. We'll get there more here in a little bit. But yeah, I thought the music was effectively used most of the time. There were a couple times where I was like, I don't know, man. It feels like the soundtrack felt like it went more in that Spider-Man direction than it did the horror tones that we had going on here. Because there were moments that it felt like it was supposed to be a kind of scary score that was playing, or an ominous score that was playing, and it was more just like a guitar riff that was like a build up to some like hype music, and I was like, all right, like I'll take it, it's cool, but like it feels wrong for the tone right now.
I see.
And yeah, Danny Elfman, I'll say I'm generally good with Danny Elfman. He's got some good scores back with the Batman and Batman 89 and Spider-Man 2002 and Spider-Man 2. Yeah. Now he scored Batman, Spider-Man, and
that's kind of sick how Sam Raimi and Danny Elfman kind of like came together again.
Oh yeah, and like that was one of the things I was really excited about, and therein it fit really well. Like the filmmaking and the soundtracks style went well together, extremely good. It was just like the actual characters and the things they were doing in those moments. It felt a little weird with some of the soundtrack elements they were introducing. I mean, Doctor Strange's like established theme by Michael Giacchino. Interesting little connection there. He did the first Doctor Strange movie and the Batman. That was used once very subtly in like the background of a song, and it's like, man, we established themes. Come on, use the theme.
Yeah,
continue the motif.
Can you imagine like in Black Panther 2 if they just didn't carry on? If they just changed like that stuff, like it'd be like that's the shit I got hyped for whenever I heard.
Speaking of Black Panther soundtrack, man, I was thinking about it, and if Sam Raimi wanted this electric guitar sort of feel that I feel could have really amplified their story, Ludwig Göransson was the move. For the soundtrack of this movie. I was thinking specifically, not just his work on Black Panther, but his work on The Mandalorian. You remember the guitar?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I feel like Ludwig Göransson could have dominated the score for this movie, and we'll never know, but like I feel like he would have fit well in this movie. But yeah, the soundtrack was solid. I could have gotten more out of it, but because sometimes when it comes to these superhero movies, the thing that enhances the emotional moments is the score, and the emotional score was not there in this movie. Like it was just it was very subtle. It didn't elevate the scenes as many scores should and can.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't like a I don't know. Yeah, whenever you're comparing it to like a soundtrack that you love is like the Batman soundtrack, and I know I love that soundtrack as well. It's just like it was kind of the first sound like before a movie even came out where I'm like, oh, okay, I already fuck with this soundtrack. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know if a movie has done that to me before, other than maybe Black Panther, just because it was Kendrick Lamar.
right.
But,
I listened to the soundtrack, the Danny Elfman score, the day of going to see it all day while I was at work because it was released and I hadn't seen the movie yet. So I listened to it, and listening to it alone, it stands alone really solidly, really well. I mean, it's not one that I'll casually listen to a lot. But it was just weird with some of the tones they were putting forth in the movie as compared to the tones the music was putting out for us.
And we actually talked a little bit about the soundtrack, and like I was saying that I was trying to overanalyze the titles and like see what was going to happen in the movie before it happened. And one that we talked about was like track 28, "They'll Be Loved." We were wondering what that meant, like what kind of vibe that put forth. And I was way off of what it actually meant.
I knocked that shit out of the park, though.
Yeah, you got the nail on the head there.
No, yeah. So I say we abandon the spoiler-free talk and we really get into the thick of it, the fun shit. All in all, definitely worth the watch. These people saying that it's a horror movie, don't take your kids to it, are fucking idiots. Take your kids to it. I mean, it might be a little frightening for kids under 8, but any kid like 9, 10, 11, if they've got a good head on their shoulders, they can take a little bit of a fright.
I'd say the darkest part of the movie is probably wherever he has the souls of the damned like coming out of him, and then he like starts to harness them. I'd say that's like the only like dark.
I'd say that's a little scary, but it's also the coolest shit in the movie.
Yeah. You're the Sorcerer Supreme, or not Sorcerer Supreme. Sorry, you're a master of the mystic arts. You can't say that he's the Sorcerer Supreme. That's strange. But
and you know what's interesting? I don't think we have any intention of making him the Sorcerer Supreme for a while.
And that's incredible. We assumed that he just became the Sorcerer Supreme during this movie. Like whenever, at least I kind of did. Like I'm like, okay, so he's becoming the Sorcerer Supreme now. Wong's just, this temporal, like, I don't know, Sorcerer Supreme, but like we see him bow to Wong. He like accepts it and he's like, I'll guard the sanctum. Cool. Like I'm cool with just doing that. I don't know, maybe that gives him, like, if he is the Sorcerer Supreme, he can really only do Sorcerer Supreme stuff. But this way, if he's just, like, guarding one sanctum, he can leave and do whatever with anybody a lot more realistically, I guess you could say.
No, yeah, like, he doesn't have so much on his plate. And it is funny in those moments where we're officially done with spoiler-free, by the way, about to spoil things. Now, so if you haven't seen the movie, get the fuck out of here. It's time. Like those moments at the end always make me laugh a little bit whenever Wong needs his ass saved. Like the Sorcerer Supreme, Doctor Strange is pulling up doing shit you've never seen before.
Yeah,
like I always think that's just so funny. Like in terms of like who is doing some more
power
shit.
ranking. Yeah. Power ranking Strange is above Wong. It's just, it's just how it is.
Badass scenes in this movie, though. When they introduced him at the beginning against Gargantos, bro, that man was fucking it up.
Ooh, tell me, I sort of got this prediction right. I said that was Wanda. That was my guess. I'm like, that creature, that was Wanda. And she was just
you got that right too.
She was dreamwalking it or whatever. So like, kind of in a way.
You did get it right. You said it would be Wanda, and I listened back to the Patreons the day I was going to see it because I was like, hey man, you're 5 30-minute installments of us just making predictions. Let's see what we got right. And we did. I mean, like obviously there's some outlandish shit that we absolutely did not get right, but there are plenty of subtle things that we were like, huh, we kind of did that. And that was one of them for you. It was definitely Wanda because we pointed out the runes, who can make runes. And that was the point in the movie. Wong goes, these are runes. And it's not sorcery, it's witchcraft. Do we know anyone who can, anyone who's fought this?
Dun, 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 the little
dude, the introduction of Wanda with the WandaVision. That was fucking fantastic. Oh, I loved it. I loved it so much. And I mean, a couple great musical cues in this movie. Wanda getting introduced and Professor X rolling on screen to the I was like, oh, the X-Men fan of me just got giddy in that moment, man.
Was the line, just because you stumble or something and lose your way doesn't mean that you're lost forever? Is that like an actual line that he says before? I felt like I've heard that somewhere before. Like there's obviously the I can do this all day from Peggy. That's like an obvious callback or whatever. But I felt like he like
just because someone stumbles and use that way. I feel like Days of Future Past.
Like I don't know why, but whenever I heard that, I'm like, oh, that just felt like a callback, and I felt like just. But if it's not even a callback, it's just the fact that Patrick Stewart saying just a cool ass quote can make me feel that way. Like,
it was
someone stumbles. Yeah, it's a Charles Xavier quote, like from before his. Yeah, cool. Days of Future Past. Yeah,
I was right.
He says it to. He says it to himself.
That's what I thought. I thought it was because James McAvoy wasn't doing his shit right in terms of being Professor X, and he was like, just because someone stumbles and loses their way doesn't mean they're lost forever. And when I heard that, I immediately was like, I know that. I've heard that. But yeah, obviously that's going to be that's the most exciting shit of the movie to talk about. So let's talk some Illuminati shit.
Another prediction we kind of got right, that all of those motherfuckers are dead.
Yep. All of them died, and this is one of the things I saw. The leak I saw was Captain Carter, Black Bolt, Mr. Fantastic, and Captain Marvel.
You saw the whole Illuminati.
Yeah, I saw them standing off. There's a shot when Wanda's opposite of them.
Yeah.
And they're all standing like in a weird arrow sort of formation. And I just saw that shot. Once I saw that, I swiped away. Didn't want to see anything else. I think there are more to those leaks, but I was like, all right, I get it. That's all I needed.
Yeah, they had like Reed Richards at the front, and then what was Black Bolt? Yeah, okay. Black Bolt, like in second, like it was a pyramid, and then they put both the women in the back. Like just on a separate tier. Like it felt really like a very like weird.
I think, and I know incel fans that are all like, the MCU is ruining shit. Watch that scene and we're like just livid, which made me so happy.
What that he died? Because
Wanda immediately kills Mr. Fantastic and Black Bolt. And then fights Captain Carter and Captain Marvel. Like I know that those dudes were just like.
Well, I mean, like power ranking wise, like they're the strongest too. Like I mean, at least Captain Marvel for sure.
Oh yeah, we finally got to see that a little bit.
Yeah,
like what would happen?
It's just versus Wanda though. Like if you're going against the Scarlet Witch, no one can really stand a chance.
No, you're fucked. You're fucked.
But not one. One little badass girl, that can stand up to the Scarlet Witch, almost send her to hell, and then put her in her own reality that she wants, and then make her life a living hell by seeing what happened. Right, like
And that was powerful. I thought that I thought it was cool to see the way everyone tried to combat Wanda. The Illuminati was way too cocky. They were way too. We can handle your little witch.
Oh yeah. The real threat is Doctor Strange, which
and like I was just like, y'all clearly have no idea who you're about to fucking deal with.
Unless they're trying to say that Doctor Strange is on the same level as the Scarlet Witch.
Well, I think
maybe no Scarlet Witch has been this unhinged before.
I take it as, and this is just hearsay. There's nothing that's really pointing me in this direction. I took it as the Wanda we know is the only Scarlet Witch. Every other Wanda is just Wanda with her with her powers enhanced. They haven't fully unlocked the Scarlet Witch mode that Wanda had to go to in WandaVision. Just because, like, if she had reached that level, there's no reason to doubt her. You know, like, there is not an ounce. There is not an ounce of reason in the idea of we can handle that your little witch. No, you cannot. There's no way you can possibly think that.
True. Huh. I mean, okay, because what was the original Darkhold, like, carved into stone called? The location?
Wundagore.
Yeah, Wundagore. It seemed that was the only location of that. Like,
because she could destroy it, and all of them were destroyed with it.
And how was that made there, knowing that she's becoming the Scarlet Witch, if she's the first one to, like, if she is the first one to do it, who knew that this would happen, to build a throne? Like, it's like some prophecy to these creatures or whatever, or they know it's bound to happen. Like, it's bound that the Scarlet Witch first comes to life in this universe or something. Like,
yeah, man, I don't know. I couldn't. That's why I'm like, maybe she's not the only. I'd be willing to bet she's the first.
Yeah.
As far as this shit is concerned, because the prophecy that Wong lays out is that she's destined to rule or destroy the cosmos. All of it. And all of it, I think, includes the multiverse. Like, she's destined to rule or destroy all of it. Which I thought was a really interesting thing. And in that, I feel like only one of them could have gotten to this point already, or else we would have felt the ramifications of it elsewhere.
I mean, if there's a threshold moment, like trying to relate back to Kang in any way, like the biggest Nexus event that's happened, I think, anywhere was probably Wanda becoming the Scarlet Witch. Like, because, like, if she does, like, they even say it in the movie, like, if she does get a hold of America Chavez's power, she can enslave the entire multiverse with just a thought of her mind. Like, it's that simple. Like, and they kind of, is it that Wanda herself can access, like, the Darkhold in more, like, a more powerful way than anyone else? Or is it like, can anyone that has access to the Darkhold, like, I don't know.
Well, anyone who has access to the Darkhold can cause the destruction of a universe, as we saw with our Doctor Strange variant there at one point. But I think that Wanda, interestingly enough, I think she can do it to the maximum capacity. I don't know that there is any other person who could possibly do it quite as effectively as she was able to do it. She is the most powerful being in all of the magic world, after all. But yeah, man, I don't know. It was kind of like I don't know. Maybe maybe because the Scarlet Witch is so closely tied to the Darkhold, like, it's like Sithon prophesized this. The guy who created the Darkhold prophesized this, and therein, as soon as the Darkhold is connected to the Scarlet Witch, it's like, like amplified or something. I don't know.
The only thing that holds me back from thinking that is, like, whenever the Souls of the Damned do come out, and then, like, affect Strange, because he breaks, like, a rule. Even the Darkhold has some rules, and like, you can't date or dreamwalk, like, with a dead body. You just can't do that. Apparently, even hell has rules.
You gotta let the dead rest. Apparently,
yeah. And but then Strange then uses those Souls of the Damned to, like, trap Wanda, and, like, they're like, are they doing that, like, because they're being ordered by Strange to, or, like,
I took that as Strange was in full control of the Souls of the Damned there at the end after that.
because I guess Wanda doesn't break any rules, like as far as the Darkhold's concerned.
Like, no, yeah, she was just doing what she was prophesized to.
Yeah, and yeah, I don't know. I think, and maybe the only other person we saw use the Darkhold is Doctor Strange, which is a master of the mystic arts that has probably the best understanding of this out of anyone else. So like, I'm just curious to see if like
Agatha Harkness had it.
True. I guess another person who understands it and is very close to Ralph, whoever Ralph is, and her, I don't know, like what I don't know. We keep screaming Mephisto, and it feels like it's getting there. Like I feel like I don't know. Is he like, how old is Mephisto? Like, is he the creator of the Darkhold? Is he the one who etched? Like, is that who they're referring to as like created this temple and like?
As far as comics is concerned, I don't know if they'll go a different direction in the movie and be like, I've been known as many names. I could see them going that route, being like, but the guy who created the Darkhold and is mentioned by name is Sithon.
Oh, they mentioned him in this movie?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't catch that at all.
No, it's very, Wong says it one time when they reach Wundagore, he goes, this mountain was, I can't remember exactly what he says, but it was carved by Sithon, and it was copied later into a Darkhold.
Okay.
But yeah, Sithon, creator of the Darkhold. However, there have always been some strong ties between that side of the universe and, the hell dimension that Mephisto occupies, and the fact that we literally see a portal open to hell. They're fucking with us at this point. You know what I'm saying? They're just like, fuck you. We know what you think.
You want them so bad. They even like are edging us in Shang-Chi with that like demon portal door
in darkness.
Yeah, like what's behind that door? It sounds like hell. It's gonna like, I don't know. They're just all these cockroaches, all these, I don't know, everything. They know that we want them. I don't know. Maybe they're just building it up so Mark Hamill can come in and just absolutely slay as Mephisto. I really hope that happens somehow.
God, that'd be fantastic. But nevertheless, let's talk about this the story a little bit more. The story is shockingly simple.
Oh yeah.
We start on this note with America and a strange variant running through the gap between the universes where the Book of Ashanti is being held, making their way downtown, walking fast. Places past, and they're book bound, but they're getting chased by one of these monsters, and I was like, okay, we are off and running. I'm absolutely here for this.
They really got us right into it. Immediately I'm like, this isn't our Strange.
Oh,
like, yeah. It was like, he was different enough to be like, oh yeah, not our Strange.
Yeah, they made that very clear very fast.
And you get the idea of like, okay, she has this power. It can be taken away from her. And that there's some force that wants to take it from her, but Strange has to do it in this last, act or whatever. He has to hold the knife, as Christine would say. And then he wakes up and, this is the dream they're referring to in the trailer, that he has every night. And you're lied to in the trailer a couple times.
Dream. There are a few things that are effectively cut. Wong and Wanda standing side by side there in Wundagore. It was like, how do we get there? And very simply, actually, very very easy to ride off there. We got a few things in the trailer that were like
Wong yelling "Strange" in like oh my god, I'm afraid of you, instead of it being like "Strange," like you're saving me.
Like he was actually excited to see him, and it was like, I remember as soon as that moment happened, we looked at each other, we were like, yeah, that's my boy. Yeah, we coolin'.
Because I think Reed Richards says, like, in your own words, you said things just got out of hand. But like actual Evil Strange, did he say that? I don't think he actually said that in the movie, but in the trailer he's like, things just got out of hand, whatever. But I don't think
I was waiting for that line. It never comes. It was definitely cut, but things just got out of hand.
but Reed Richards says it. I think it was either Reed or Professor X, but
no, yeah, it was Reed. It was Reed Richards. He goes, and in your words, things got out of hand.
Where was the Iron Man? You know, I like, is Christine kind of like the new, like, took the mantle in this universe, or like,
no,
is it
I think it's just Reed.
Recreated Ultron bots?
Oh yeah, Reed's
but I mean, like, he calls them Ultron, you know, or like they say like Ultron, like the bots themselves.
Listening back to it on a second watch, and I suggest doing this on your third watch. I think it sounds like John Krasinski.
Oh yeah, I kind of heard it. Wait,
the Ultron bots.
Oh, I thought you meant it sounded like the Lizard King. I always forget his real name. The actual like Ultron voice actor.
Oh yeah, maybe it was, but I don't know if I was projecting onto it. But it sounded like John Krasinski's voice was the Ultron bots.
Interesting.
Ultron commands you.
It's just like he calls them Ultron too, or like, you know, like. Because Tony, like,
Tony can only fight Ultron.
Well, no, that like, because didn't Tony and Bruce came up with the name Ultron, right? They named the readings of the stone to be Ultron, gotcha. You know, and like Reed just so happens to also call it Ultron. You know, or like I just like was suspecting that like maybe this Iron Man is dead as well, or like maybe I don't know, maybe it is more believable that he never existed in this universe in the first place, and Reed Richards was just kind of that.
Reed Richards was their super genius, you know, like at least that's what I'm taking it at as kind of a face value. This was Baxter Industries, and Baxter Tower is where they do all of the Fantastic Four shit. This is where the Illuminati's headquarters was Baxter. I was like, it sounds like Reed Richards was the...
That's kind of sick if it is Reed Richards, and Ultron is just like an absolute fixed, has to be created.
It's gonna get made.
That's even cool. You know what? Yeah, I'd rather it not be Tony.
You know what? You're like, dope.
Fuck it.
No, yeah, that was really cool. But the way at the beginning of the movie, one of my concerns was that this movie's coming so far after the first Doctor Strange movie. Like 6 years in between. He's been in 5 movies since. What's the connective tissue? How do we expand on this while acknowledging his previous exploits? And Christine being such an integral part was huge. But respect to Michael Waldron, the writer of this movie, for effectively utilizing 2 lines that Doctor Strange just said in Infinity War and No Way Home. It is the only way, and in the infinite multiverse, your sacrifice means infinitely more than your life. And he turned that into an arc, which is really fucking cool. You know, like that, like his arc is based off those 2 lines.
I mean, it's even at the very beginning of the movie, where that variant Strange is like, on the infinite calculus of the universe, your sacrifice. Yeah, says it in the way that he would mean it before.
Said it to Spider-Man, yeah.
But then at the very end of the movie,
it means he's learned, like, the steps he takes, man. Like Doctor Strange in the first Doctor Strange movie is, you know, he's holding the knife. He stops time. He has to go deal with Dormammu. You know, he's going to
come to bargain. Yeah.
And it's like by the end of this movie, he's gained faith in others. You know, like, and he's never shown that. Like in No Way Home, it was kind of like, all right, I see what you've done here, and it's quite impressive, but they need to go. Like we still need to do something here. And I was like, okay. But to end this movie on that note with him going to America and being like, no, America. I loved the facial movement and the head movement for the zombie. It was just so fucking funny. But he did fucking fantastic in this movie, I think, and that arc was really, really cool. Wanda, I've seen 2 sides. And I agree with both of them. And I'm having a hard time deciding where I come down. One side of the coin is WandaVision fans who are like, this kind of negates the end of WandaVision in terms of she recognizes what she does in WandaVision is wrong, undoes it, gets everyone out of there, and has to sacrifice her family and say bye to them. And it's kind of like damn, this sucks. And then it made me think, like, interesting. So was the post-credit scene negating what just occurred in the...
Yeah. It's not Wanda that is doing these things. It's the Darkhold's hold on her. It's like the Scarlet Witch. Like, I feel like they're treating them as two separate entities, like, characters and entities. Like,
Wanda even says herself, like, next time it won't be Wanda coming after her.
Yeah.
It'll be the Scarlet Witch.
And, like, at the very end, the post-credit scene is her, like, reading through the Darkhold for the first time and, like, really reading it. So that's the switch. It's not that all the things that she just learned are thrown away. It's just she happened to be corrupted. Yeah, she's corrupted now. And
that's what I thought.
Whatever that means, the heavy toll on the reader, like, it seems that this other Strange who died is still connected. The three-eyed Strange,
right,
somehow is still connected, whether that's through the Darkhold or by, like, who knows what this heavy toll means, but that means, like, every reader of the Darkhold would then somehow have this same toll on them. So, like,
inflicted
Agatha,
on them.
Yeah, so, like, Agatha, Wanda, Strange, I'm assuming others, in the past that have read the Darkhold as well.
And the other side of the coin, though, there are a lot of people who think this is a perfect picking up point from WandaVision for Wanda's story. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I think there's a middle ground here where it's not like this completely negates WandaVision, and it's not like this perfectly picks up where it left off. Like, I think there's a middle ground where it's like, it didn't perfectly. It definitely took a jump. There was an increase in malice for Wanda off screen that we did not see. We were not privy to. And then it doesn't negate WandaVision because it showed she had issues to the point that she could unknowingly take over a town.
True. Yeah. And this was very willing and very reasonable at first in her words.
Yeah.
Which is just badass.
That is me being reasonable.
I've said it from the start, man, that there were two different Wandas in that head. I've been like I'm not completely right.
No, but I mean, in the spirit of things.
Yeah, I said that Wanda reading the Darkhold back there in the shack versus the Wanda that is still cooking or doing whatever.
Getting the tea off the
I've
kettle.
said that they are different Wandas from the start, and it wasn't just a projection. The reading the Darkhold, that was the Scarlet Witch. She was corrupted, and that other part of her was just the good part of her mind still holding on. But, like, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. I guess who knows? Like, she's not dead. Like, I don't think she died.
Nah, we're getting the return of the Scarlet Witch, man. I'm
what
hoping
was that little last spurt of chaos magic there? What was that?
Well, I thought about it. It could be a sort of like she spontaneously transported somewhere or got out of there somehow, created a bubble around her and just took that shit. The other possibility is that she is the being with chaos magic.
So, like, she just got it.
And it
like it's a blood splat, sort of.
Like, it expands outward. So it's like, it could just be, it landed on her and it just and expanded out like chaos magic gone. And I don't think so. The Scarlet Witch is notoriously difficult to kill. And giving her a death that, I mean, like, it was just like, oh, okay. You know, for a character that I've cared about for so long, for her to get a death that made me go, oh, all right.
Wait.
I don't know.
What if they're trying to say that, like, every time that a Scarlet Witch dies, she just wakes up in the next, like, one that's in line or whatever. Like, maybe, like, this Wanda is truly dead, but, like, that consciousness is, because, like, I'm trying to think, like, she, like, she's touched the Mind Stone, and this is, like, you know, gave her, like, a Scarlet Witch vision, you know, of, like, them flying to get, like, everything. So, like, there's something, you know, maybe the Mind Stone can't directly access, you know, through the multiverse, whatever. But, like, from that moment, like, something happened to link everything. And I don't know, maybe, like, once one dies, just one, like, takes its place, like, sort of like a Kang thing. But, like, just with Wanda. And maybe that's, like, yes, you can kill a Scarlet Witch in your universe, but the second you do, it creates an instantly, like, another copy that has all the memories that it just had. And, like, I don't know. Like, maybe,
I like that.
Because I just don't want to assume that she's not dead and then actually find out that, like, no, like, she legitimately died there.
And never see her again. Yeah. Like, that'll, my thing is that the death was not effective enough to convince me it was final. And if it is final, that's bad writing. Yeah. Because I couldn't tell. You know, like
when Wong gets thrown off the cliff, you know he's not dead because they didn't make it a big deal.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Like, okay, no, he's coming back. And this is kind of the same with Wanda. You don't kill the Scarlet Witch forever by just, like, I don't know.
In a movie full of graphic on-screen deaths.
Peggy getting sliced in half.
Black Bolt's head getting exploded. What mouth?
Reed Richards getting shredded. And then his head explodes.
Like, even Captain Marvel.
That had the cleanest, I'd say, of the deaths. Which is still, like...
But even she died in the same way Scarlet Witch would have supposedly died. She was crushed. And we even watched Captain Marvel's hand go. Like, they confirmed to us, she's dead. They make sure you know when somebody's dead.
True.
And they did not make sure we knew she was dead.
True.
So if it is final, it's kind of like, what were y'all doing then? I don't think it is. I think we're a shoo-in for a Return of the Scarlet Witch. I kind of want that to be her solo movie. Like the Return of the Scarlet Witch. I think it'd be so fucking badass. But yeah, I think the coolest way to have wrapped up that story was definitely America showing her how her kids would feel about her doing this. I was like, thank you. I'm so glad someone didn't have to kill her. Like, nothing like that had to happen. It was straight up. She sees what she did was wrong, and that had to be how it wrapped up.
Surprisingly,
I'm a mother.
I thought Vision would at least pop up once. Like,
I didn't. Shit.
Like, I mean, not even for, like, a memory. Like, nothing. Like, I thought, like, even, like, maybe I just wanted to see my boy, you know? Like, maybe in all these multiverse, you know, like, multiversal options, Vision is not with her. Like, she doesn't have that happy of a family. So, like, obviously, like, I don't know, in some way Vision, like, might just not carry on. Like, maybe, like, past the threshold, whatever. It's just, like, Vision isn't part of Wanda. Like, I don't know. I hope not. Like, I hope that it was just, like, they didn't get Paul Bettany for the movie so they could only show a multiverse of, you know, where it's just Wanda and the kids. But, like, I'd assume her happiest being where she would want to go would be a multiverse that has Vision and the kids.
Yeah, I guess that maybe they're making a really sad statement there.
Yeah,
with what one of the universal constants is.
And maybe that's just so Ultron can rise. And if so, I'm for it. I don't, even though that Vision's my boy, Ultra. I don't know. Actually, I like I like Vision more. He's way more of a character than Ultron is. But like, if it means that I get to see Ultron in live action come back as the big bad, like, I'm kind of cool with it.
Worth it.
Yeah.
No, but that's a good point. You know, I didn't even think about the fact that Vision wasn't there in any of the other realities. Like it was like she's raising her children alone, regardless. You know, they're not your children. They were created with magic. Every mother does that.
Boom. Yeah, like that was that true.
Like, I mean, like, it was a very interesting point because it was like well, and it also called into like clearly they're her children.
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere else. Mm-hmm. She had like the connection she has to those children is real because she could create them and they exist everywhere else as those two kids. Like that's, for me, that's like mind blowing. The fact that she could, like, they already existed everywhere else. She's never seen them, and she creates those kids on her own.
Damn,
that's crazy shit.
That's how powerful magic is. There.
It's how powerful the mother's love is. You know, she's connected there.
Damn.
But yeah, it was the only way to do it, and that scene where she's kneeling before herself. Oh, buddy.
Ooh.
Know that they'll be loved. I was like, if there was a moment that I wanted to cry, it was there. This movie did not do it to me, though. You know, it surprised me because I love Wanda. And I like WandaVision. That shit made me cry.
It's just because we're seeing the evil Wanda. Like, it's just we're seeing Scarlet Witch. You know, we're not seeing Wanda.
Right. No,
I don't know, but like,
my beef is less with, like, I think it falls on the storytelling. Like, it should have gotten me there. There's no reason it shouldn't have, because the entire time I view Wanda as a villain in this movie, obviously, but it's more in the Wenwu sense of things, where it's like, this poor guy, they've been corrupted by something they don't know the extent of. They want to get back with their family. I feel for this guy. And so I never like fully go, fuck Wanda, you know? Like, I'm never like, she's fucking up. She's evil. Like, I'm never like, oh, she's fully gone. I'm like, you know, she's still in there somewhere. I know she is.
Fair.
And at that moment, the second time I watched, I got a little bit more teary-eyed. It was definitely first watch was just like, I was just like, what's next? What's going to happen? Second time I got to let it wash over me a little bit more. And it did resonate a little more. But I don't know. I just expected a moment like that to like bring me to tears. And I certainly expected it to bring Emily to tears because like when it comes to Wanda Maximoff, like episode 8 of WandaVision, that episode ended and I held her for like 10 to 15 minutes afterwards.
Oh, I mean, that is a brutal episode though.
Oh my God. It's devastating. But like that, like, that's the precedent for emotional storytelling with Wanda Maximoff.
True.
And we didn't reach those levels. And you know, maybe I don't know. I feel really good about the movie all in all in terms of directorial style. The fucking Lethal Symphonies was bad ass.
That, like, whenever
that was the most creative comic book fight I've ever watched.
Yeah, like, it was done in a way that, like, it wasn't too cheesy. Like, because at first I'm like, oh, really? They're just having, like, a fucking music battle.
Fight.
Like, the, you know, like, which, what? But, like, the other way this happens is it's just magic flowing and, like, symbols, you know, that you see. And it's, like, the same thing, But like it's in this way, it's just done way cooler, and it makes sense for
the
Strange
getting
to do
played
it.
Right,
it makes
on
sense
point,
for him to do it in this way. He loves music, and he always can refer to any
Fantastic
symphony.
Four. Didn't you guys chart in the 60s?
That wasn't like so. In Earth 616, was it just the movies that were actually in universe, or like what does he mean by chart in the 60s?
A Fantastic Four was a music group in the 60s.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, because I was really hoping that they weren't saying that like the Fantastic Four and Earth 616 was just movies, and like the movies are canon within the universe or whatever. But
the Fantastic Four were a Detroit-based soul group.
Okay,
in 1965. Cool. So didn't you guys chart in the 60s? Like, so he was, and I loved that too. He went in there guns a-blazing. He was ready to light them up. Blackagar Boltagon, king of the Inhumans and holder of the Terrigen Mists. Blackagar Boltagon. Yeah, hit a guy, hit her there. That shit was funny as fuck.
Man,
Captain Carter. Her introduction I thought was goofy as fuck.
The shield
throwing the shield in. It was just so she could throw the shield. I was just like, okay. Captain Marvel, badass. It's Maria Rambeau, which is badass. What if she went up on that mission as the test pilot instead of Carol? And that's what happens. She becomes Captain Marvel. Because she crashes, she lands next to it.
I didn't even think of all that. That's so cool. Just that one little change. Yeah, that's wow.
That's enough. That's enough to do it. And Fantastic Four, we got Reed Richards, we got John Krasinski, man. Now, this was the leak I saw, right? So I saw John Krasinski's Mr. Fantastic was going to be in this movie. And I was like, I trust Sarah Haley Finn, the casting director for the MCU. So I'm like, she had to have made the decision because she thought it was the right choice. That's what she has always done. Like she's very good at her job. We've seen how good she is at her job. I'm worried they let the fans win on this one. I mean, he was solid. And maybe it's more on the writing side of the character that I wasn't like a huge fan of. It just, I don't know. I thought it was weird. It didn't feel Mr. Fantastic-y to me.
Well, maybe they just knew that this one was only going to last for this one movie, and it's just maybe let the fans win this one time so that when we bring back the actual actor that we're going with, it's True, like you already got who you wanted, but it's not the serious, the long-standing Reed Richards, maybe.
True, yeah, and I'd be cool with that too. And frankly, I'd be cool with John Krasinski popping up as our Mr. Fantastic. He did good enough to where I'm like, I'm open to that. My concern is that we let A Quiet Place elevate John Krasinski to a level to where we're like, I mean, he's a solid actor, talented director.
He's kind of treated like Hollywood Jesus, like for some reason,
everyone fucking loves him. I mean, and I think he's cool. I like him as Jim Halpert.
Yeah,
but like, I don't know. Like, I think A Quiet Place, he does a solid job. Doesn't have to talk. It's literally the point of the movie. I don't know, but like as soon as he opened his mouth, I was like, I don't know, it just felt weird. I was just like, I don't know. He doesn't carry the gravitas I would expect a leader of the Illuminati to carry. Like him being like Black Bolt could eviscerate you with one whisper out of his mouth. I was just like, shut the fuck up, dude. Kill this guy. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a hater a little bit, but
they made like it very clear that he could do that with one whisper. Like, I've never seen this dude before. I didn't know his power set, but like whenever they show him wipe out Strange, like by him just saying, I'm sorry. And like, it's literally like anything he says can just be resonated like it's just a death
Very
ray,
cool.
basically. Like, damn.
Leading up to this movie, the comics I was reading the couple days before, just because I was like, I'd seen the leaks, so I went and read a couple Fantastic Four. I read some Inhumans. I read a few things, and I was like, all right, I'm real familiar with these characters in broad strokes. Blackagar Boltagon is fucking awesome. I love Black Bolt now. Like, from the brief reading I did, and I mean, even this little on-screen portrayal, like, it's like, wow, that's really fucking cool. But like that scene on Titan, that flashback that Professor X amplifies into Doctor Strange's head, what a fucking moment that is, man. You see Thanos impaled on his own that shit.
That was dope. Yeah.
And Doctor Strange sitting there like, yeah, I get it. Come on, go ahead, do it.
I guess his fingertips
are black.
At the same time, I think Charles was reading his mind too. Like, he was showing him that memory, but he was also looking into like who this, because why else or how else would he be like, nah, we can trust this one. Like, if you are to escape, like, I was like,
you will see what kind of Doctor Strange you are.
And Mordo, oh man. Like, their fight scene was so cool when, like, the moment they realized that they both couldn't use magic, and they were like, all right, let's get this shit, and then like they just start like,
all right, fine, I guess we're doing this thing, huh? I think I'm starting to see why your Mordo didn't like you very much.
I mean, hey, Strange did that, like, kicked Mordo in the chest, jumped off the wall, got up there, like, that was just him, no magic, like,
yeah.
That's kind of like impressive.
Hey,
like,
kind of hard, yeah. Like they're not just training the whole magic side of them there at Kamartage. They're like, you got to get with the shit, man. But yeah, that was some pretty cool shit. But yeah, Black Bolt, like, looking at Doctor Strange, and like, for a set of characters I have no tie to, I don't know their relationship, I don't know anything about them in terms of this version of them in this universe. Like, one of the most emotionally, like, potent moments in this movie is whenever Black Bolt looks at him and goes, "I'm sorry," with tears in his eyes, and eviscerates him.
Like, yeah,
and it's like,
we don't know.
I don't
any
even
of
know
them.
you.
Yeah,
I don't even know you, dude.
We didn't know any of them at all, and it was like, I don't know, like, some of the moments, I guess, like, the emotional moments that were supposed to make you not necessarily cry your eyes out, but like, I was like, oh damn, like, and then you have Charles Xavier being like, "I will miss you, my friend," like, saying like, oh damn, and then like another moment kind of like that I almost like teared up a little bit was whenever Strange was telling Christine, like, "I love you in every universe." Like, it's not that I don't want to love or that I don't, whatever. He was like, "I just get scared," and then Christine was like, "Oh damn!" Like, I've needed to hear that for
my Strange.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, it was a really cool cathartic experience for Strange and Christine. I think, and I think that's a period on the end of that sentence, as far as Strange and Christine.
They're going on a multiversal date, and you can't convince me otherwise. Whenever, like, she was like, "No, I gotta go," but she was like, "No, I would love that." Like, she's like, "Yeah, I'd like that," and it would be quite the incursion, cool. Is what they said. And I would love if the post-credit scene is like, "Hey, you caused an incursion, we got to go fix it." If it was him being like, "No, I'm going on this fucking date," like, he's like, "I'm going back," and that's the incursion. Who is that lady, by the way?
Clea. And this was part of the reason that I think it's a period on the end of the sentence for Strange and Christine, is because Clea is, in many books, Doctor Strange's wife. And I think it also provided, I think that scene with Strange and Christine, like, America's on her way, she's about to come get us, we'll be all good, and him being like, "I love you in every multiverse, I just get scared." I think it was a good bit of closure for both of them. Like, it was kind of like, he went to Christine's wedding.
True.
And told her, "I fucked up. I wish I didn't. Sucks that you're getting married today." That's not something you should do or that you're supposed to do.
Yeah, right when she's like, "Hey, go meet him." He's a fan. He's not like
he like grabs her arm and is like, "Wait a second. So I'm sorry that I'm the way that I am. I really fucking love you, dude, and this sucks. I hate being here." Basically, that's all I'm hearing when he's talking there. It's like this really blows. This is painful for me.
Pulled a Jesus though, turned water into wine there, which is pretty sick.
Yeah, he was like. And she was like, "That's pretty, yeah."
You know what? Right. On the nose. Yeah, I didn't expect anything more or less from you.
At my wedding, yeah, that makes sense.
His little 360 jump off the balcony, grab, cloak of levitation on him, boom, like that was just sick.
Him jabbing the fucking light post in Garganto's eye.
Wong just uses he just conjures weapons like that pretty much. That's all Wong does. But Strange, conjures two giant hands that then pick up a light post out of the ground, stab it and pull it out. He summons a monster to jump out of the ground, eat a car to save people from getting smashed.
He uses musical notes as knives.
Yeah. Sick. Lethal Symphonies is playing right now. That's what I'm hearing.
That was that was probably it's as far as action in a comic book movie is concerned. That's one of my top favorite action sequences.
The one little harp note that just blew everything out of proportion. Made it made it he caught the Darkhold as if it was some big moment. If it were to hit the ground, it would have exploded and not been destroyed. They made him catching it seem that it was huge, which was kind of funny. I guess it was cool that he caught it, but it would have
would have been fine.
Yeah, it's just a book. Yeah, when it's not activated or whatever. I don't think that this would have, been the end of the Darkhold here.
That's fucking funny. I didn't even think about that. That is pretty fucking funny.
Question: if there is, if the Darkhold is just a copy of some stone structure, that was made. Is the Book of Ashanti a copy as well? Because they destroy it really quick. We don't get to see it used at all. And I don't think that's the only one. Well, it could be the only one because it was the juncture of all.
That was my thing, is I took that as there might be Darkholds in every universe. I think there is one Book of Ashanti. At least that's how I took it, because the Book of Ashanti is destroyed. That's that. They don't even think about, let's find another version of the Book of Ashanti. No, that was...
So is the Darkhold really gone, though?
I take that as, yeah. I think the Darkhold's gone. I think it's a really clean way to have just done away with such a powerful piece of magic so that it can't come back up. And in an emotional way where Wanda sacrifices herself to get rid of it. I think it's cool. I think it would be a cool way.
I guess it would make sense if the Book of Ashanti was the only one and it got destroyed because they're very yin yang and the one has to exist with the other, it seems. And it would be really cool if when one goes out, the other just has to go out too. You can't leave.
Oh yeah, that was one of the things I like. That's one of the things I liked about it was that it was very, very both the extremes were destroyed, the hacks, Book of Ashanti. They were saying sorcerer can literally get anything they want out of that fucking book. It'll stop any enemy you have. And it's
I read that out of the secret text you get when you become the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah,
I
read it, and he kind of whispers it. He's like, I read it in the book that they give you when you become Sorcerer Supreme. I thought Wong dominated this, and this only confirmed that I want all of Wong. More of Wong. Give me more Wong. Wong cinematic universe.
So, America Chavez and her moms. That star logo is very huge in their culture, planet, whatever. Is she the only one who can do this? She doesn't dream, so she's the only one of her. At least that's what they're getting at. That she doesn't exist in any other universe, at least at one out of the 73 that she's visited so far.
Well, and the way she goes, I never dream. That's what pointed to me that they're saying every dream is a multiversal vision. You're never just dreaming. And Damn. I've never dreamt. Therefore, I'm the only one of me.
Yes, I can confirm I've never had a single dream in my entire life. I am the superior Joe out of...
I am the sole Joe.
Sadly, my Joe last night was superior than I. Made a moon discovery, like a completely new lunar event that was more rare than like eclipses and stuff. It was really cool. It caused like the moon to reflect in like a fractal way and get like smaller and smaller each time, but it was like rotate. It was insane and could never happen in real life. But I made the discovery and like was the one who like showed the world that like, hey, we just witnessed this event. And I don't know, it was kind of like a Don't Look Up situation where like I was the scientist that like saw it in the telescope, whatever moment.
Hell yeah. Well, that Joe's fucking it up after.
Yeah, I mean, this movie convinced me to start just writing down my dreams because if one day I can travel the multiverse, I'll know which one you want to go to. Yeah, I'll be like, oh, okay, I was cool in this one. I have lives to choose from. You know,
I like that. I like that idea. Yeah, my Colton from last night was rather simple. He was just hanging out with our dog. Same dog. Universal constant filly.
Must be. Oh yes.
Must be. My Saint Bernard has to be there. Has to be there. But yeah. So that's as much as I can remember about it. You know, like I did not write it down, so it's gone. All I remember is that I was with my dog. Couldn't tell you what the fuck we were doing.
Maybe lucid dreaming is just you date like dream walking.
Much to think about.
Much
to consider.
Damn. Shit. Deja, or whenever you're sleepwalking, you're being dreamwalked.
Fuck.
This shit's real, man. What they captured in camera is not fake. It's not CGI. They really filmed this.
Yeah, the gap junction exists. We will go there one day.
The paint dimension? Or universe, actually?
Yeah, whole fucking universe of just paint floating around. Were we paint for a little bit? I'm surprised you didn't throw up. Yeah, I mean, it's not my first fucking trip. All right? Ooh, I got this shit.
Talk about a Nexus event. Freaking America Chavez traveling through the multiverse for the first time. Like, that probably happened at the same time as all these other things. Right. And maybe that's why. Like, because even, like Strange says, like, she's like, control your power. She's like, I've never been able to. But he's like, no, you have. You've put us in the exact place we needed to be in order for us to succeed. Like, even though you're not thinking you're controlling it, like, you're
there's something there.
Subconsciously, you're doing the right thing. And if this Nexus event, whatever's happening, is happening, and the only way for it to be fixed or like resolved is for someone to have the ability to travel through the multiverse and put the important people in the places they need to go, sort of thing. Like, it's kind of cool that like she was birthed, or maybe her powers like awoke because they were like so needed in order for life to carry on. Because I guess she gets scared just from the bee, you know, or whatever that lands on her thumb. But like, is that the first time she's ever been scared to the point to like, because it seemed like whenever she was scared at all, her powers would activate.
Yeah, I don't know.
And like that star is like all over the book of Vishanti.
It was on their lapels.
Yeah, I don't know if like maybe her home. Everyone knows they can go through the multiverse and travel through the multiverse, but like they just don't, and that's how peaceful they are. Like they're so in tune with the multiverse that they're like, I know that I could travel to a better life where I do live better, but then that would cause me to not have that life. So like I'm happy in the solace of knowing, you know, like Wong being like, I'm grateful in this life, even though I could probably have better ones. Maybe like it's just these I guess, I don't know, they look like humans, but whatever they happen to be, if it is
whatever
Earth,
their species
whatever.
is.
But like
defined
maybe they're just so at peace with the multiverse that they're like, yeah, we don't use our powers because like it would fuck everything up. But maybe she was like the first one just as a kid. Like she's like the most powerful of them somehow. And like they usually don't develop it until later in life or whatever. So that because the mothers kind of seemed that they knew what was going on, even though that they were terrified. But like they kind of seemed that it like they knew to like run and hold on to something, but I guess it could just be like they felt like they were getting sucked back into this huge scary portal thing.
Yeah, shit, man. I don't know. I don't know.
The fact that it's in the shape of a star and that's like what they're wearing already. I don't know. I got to think there's something more there.
There's something. There's a tie there, and I think we'll get some expansion on America Chavez and future stuff. I think she's definitely here to stay. Pretty much no doubt about that. Whenever she runs up to Strange at the end and is like, wait. He turns around and she's like, sup.
Sup.
He's like, sup. Dude, I fucking love that part. I think it's adorable, and her thanking him and being like, we got the shit. And he's like, you've made your parents proud.
Talk about the next Sorcerer Supreme after Strange. Like
America
reminds me of a student I used to know. Wong says, like, and who else is Strange going to take under his wing? Like the person who could travel through the multiverse, or a person who can't. I mean, like practicality, he's taken her, but also he has like a liking of her, and like they went through this experience together, and like and he even says like war makes you like friends, like once you go through that, like yeah, we're friends. You can to Spider-Man even, but
oh yeah, call me Steven. Well, that feels weird. I'll allow it. But I don't know if you noticed, a lot more people calling him Steven, including America in this movie, and it is just fine. Everything feels just right. Like he's officially not viewing himself as above everybody. Like it's kind of what I felt like that implication was whenever he's like, you can call me Steven. And he goes, all right, Steven. And he's like, no, I'm still Doctor Strange. As soon as he heard it, he was like, nope, that's not right. That's not right. I'm definitely still above everybody. And then, him being able to get called Steven, it just felt like a perfectly normal thing. It felt like it finally feels like we're in a place where Doctor Strange is the hero I've wanted him to be.
Yeah.
Like he's
not just an arrogant asshole that we have to like be okay with because he's so powerful and fixes things. Like, but now it's
Doctor
like,
Strange.
Yeah, now he's cool.
And that's what I wanted from this movie. Like I thought Doctor Strange was cool. Through the first 5 appearances or something he's had in the MCU, I thought he was a little bit of a dick. But this one points out to us that like and I think Michael Waldron writing this and Loki both is important. Very similar themes going on in terms of Doctor Strange looking at his multiversal self, seeing how they acted, understanding what they did, and going, I need to be this way. Kind of a similar arc to Loki there. But yeah, by the end of this movie, man, I'm fucking with Doctor Strange heavier than I ever have, especially as far as the MCU is concerned. Yeah, I think we left it in a really, really good place for the launching off point and going forward. So like, Secret Wars inbound.
What are they hinting at like with the post-credit scene? Like,
there's a comic arc involving incursions and the interaction of the dimensions and multiverses called the Secret Wars. And that's what it seems like is kind of getting built towards. And I can't even really dive into that. I haven't read a ton of it. I've only read broad strokes about it. But I think that's where we're headed, and it would line up with Secret Invasion. It'd line up with all that. Like it. I'd suggest doing some reading into Secret Wars upon the completion of this movie. I think that's kind of where we're heading. And then Bruce Campbell obviously popping up. being Pizza Papa. Pizza Papa always gets paid.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I think it's only Wanda and Pizza Papa that look directly into camera.
Oh yeah.
So
it's over.
Yeah. Which Wanda looking into camera is
a really weird and interesting moment, because I thought it would be like more prevalent after that point, but she just looked into the camera to look into the camera in that moment. Like a little bit of like a...
Like she was looking into the camera, not just so happened to be looking where like...
I think it was stylistically an indication that shit's about to get fucked up. Like it was just like a little Wanda like looks directly in the camera and is like, yeah, bitch. like it's time.
I mean, they could be trying to say that like in the multiverse, our universe exists and we are canon within Marvel, like our universe, where the movies are the actual events. And Wanda knows this, and her universe is the one that's being filmed in canon Marvel. So she's aware of the camera legitimately because it actually is there. But
maybe so.
I don't know.
Well, no, yeah, I thought it was an interesting moment too, because like it was very effective too, because like I forgot it was going to happen. Like the trailer shots, like I'd forgotten about it, and when it happened, I was like, oh yeah. Like I think it really is just a little clue in to set the tone, to kind of be like, this shit's about to get freaky and ominous a little bit, like she's about to do some shit.
Because it would be sick if they were just like, yeah, our Earth, like real Earth reality is Earth 1. You know, and like they actually have like Kevin Feige and like all these people like as their actual like jobs, and they treat like Robert Downey Jr. and all these people as the actors, like in the like it's just our reality. Gotcha. So they can legitimately just film reality with no special effects whatsoever and just like call it like a segment of whatever like movie or it happens to like show up.
A little Marvel one shot.
Yeah. Earth 1 is like our Earth and whatever.
That'd be hilarious. I love that. Yep, they declared themselves 616 though.
Yeah,
which is historically the comics universe. So I know the comics fans are going to be like, "What the fuck?" I don't think it'll have as much ramification on the comics as one might think. I will say, one big concern with comic fans about the MCU is that once the MCU has adapted their character, the comics wind up reflecting that character from the MCU a little more so than anything prior to it. And specifically, that was like an issue with fans of Moon Knight. They were like, fuck, no way, right? No way this is what we end up having as Moon Knight. And who knows? Who knows? There's an ongoing Moon Knight run that's really, really good right now, so I'm not concerned about it. But yeah, I thought that was a fun little Your Earth 616. I was like, oh,
that's a reference. Yeah, you're Leonardo in the
but yeah, I love that shit. Shall we get to the rating?
We shall. Yes, let's. And another to add to the tier
list
eventually.
Yeah, we got some shit to do. So Multiverse of Madness on an enjoyment scale of out of 5 stars. So I'll explain this scale to everybody. We got 3 ratings. We have out of 5 stars in enjoyment, out of 5 stars for the genre, and out of 5 stars critically. Now, at the end of that, we take the average, we combine it, and that ends up being our rating of the film. It's not completely objective. As you see, we have enjoyment rating in there, and that's important to us. So we decided, fuck it. Our rating will just be a little bit subjective. We'll combine it with the other things, and it'll all work out in the end. So that's how we go about it. Let's do it. Out of 5 stars, where are you sitting as far as enjoyment is concerned?
I'm pretty sure I'm at like a 4-5 for the floor.
My bad.
That's all good. I feel it maybe 4-5. I don't know. kind of seems right. I don't know. This is a Marvel movie. I was going to enjoy it no matter what. And Doctor Strange is so cool, and seeing him like go through these changes was awesome. And all the things that were happening on screen were awesome.
It's a really interesting weighing of what I hold important to me, because the story didn't floor me.
Yeah.
It was deceptively simple, but that lent myself to being able to enjoy it a lot the second time. You know, I compared it to James Cameron in the 80s. If he had a little bit more style. As far as like Aliens and Terminator, those plots were deceptively thin. You know, if he had a little bit more of a knack behind the camera, maybe they'd be as epic as this was. But as far as the visuals, the directorial style is concerned, the villain, this is one of my favorite MCU villains of all time now.
True.
Like I'm really high up there. You know, I think I'm probably more in the 4.75, 4.8 realm.
All right, cool. Because I was like 4.5 just seems low, and like I wasn't cool with it. And I was gonna jump up to 4.75, because that felt more right. But I mean, it could be a 4.8 here. Like I'm trying to think. Let's see. In other movies, yeah, 4.8 would be like Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 and My Neighbor Totoro, or Aliens, Avatar, The Terminator. What?
That's just so perfect.
What? All right. You know, I wasn't going to say this, but like following this movie and having it all be all about time and multiverse and like things lining up, whatever, I walk out the theater of my second watch. There's a Tesla that is like the exact one that I want eventually. It's like to a T. And the license plate says SpaceX on it. Where I want to work of it. Like that is my dream job. Then I get in my car. I look at the license plate of the car in front of me. It has my initials. Like my 3 numbers in my initials. Like perfectly in a line. Like not like spaced out. Like perfectly there. And then like things were just like, I don't know. It was like, whoa, I'm coming out of a time focused in like multiversal movie and all these things are happening. And now it's James Cameron in the 80s
and James Cameron in 2009.
And like, it's just all James Cameron.
And our 4.8 realm for our enjoyment score over there. Yeah, I think it's right there with those. I think that stylistically it had maybe a little bit more joie de vivre. It was like that is far and away my favorite part of this movie is the direction, is the camera movement. Like, oh my God, it's electric to watch. I really, really enjoy it. It'll be one that I rewatch infinitely, just because of the way it looks. How are we feeling as far as the genre is concerned?
I mean,
what are we calling this? Supernatural horror?
Is it really horror?
I think it is.
I guess, yeah. There are enough
I don't think it's
in it.
Yeah, like, I mean, when Wanda climbs out of the fucking gong and, like, all her bones are, like, snapping and she has to snap into place.
The freaking blast door that, like, it slowed down. You just heard the droplets and then sink Wanda.
Yeah, she jumps in front of it.
Okay, fair.
I think there's enough horror elements to consider it a horror movie, but because it wasn't flooring, it's not like it can dominate the genre rating.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'd say all in all, it was really solid. But the horror moments weren't all that frightening. People convincing themselves that this is scary enough to have an R rating or fucking babies. And I'm not one to judge people for their viewing habits or anything, but like, come on now, you're just giving the MCU too much credit at that point.
This is still a kids movie, like made for kids in mind. Like this
is
a superhero movie that
a 10-year-old can and I'd say should watch this movie.
Yeah.
So as far as the genre rating is concerned, I'm going around that 4. And that it was solid. It was very well done. The horror elements were there, but they didn't, they didn't fuck me up like that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I'm pretty much right around a 4 as well. I mean, the supernatural part was cool. I mean, we literally have the Darkhold, Souls of the Damned, the Book of
the
Vishanti.
Supernatural part was cool. The Souls of the Damned, that sequence, that's a strong supernatural sequence, man.
Yeah, Christine like saying use them, and then him just instantly being like, "Oh shit, yeah, I know what to do now."
Yeah. Oh, and one of my favorite moments in the movie that is actually funny. Like, they don't have a lot of these in the MCU where like I will actually laugh and genuinely go, that was an actually funny joke, you know? And it's because nobody had to say anything. Doctor Strange, he pulled up with his damn Souls of the Damned cape up to Wanda. And he goes, this time it's going to take more than killing me to kill me. And the way Christine reacts, it's the funniest. She's like, she like raises an eyebrow, like, what? Like, I thought that was the funniest shit, dude. It might like that genuinely might be my favorite MCU joke there's ever been. I thought that shit was hilarious.
That was sick. Yeah.
It's gonna take more than killing me to kill me.
Yeah.
She was just like, huh?
It was bad, but then also like, did you really just say that? Like at the same
time, yeah, like because it was leaning into the cornball cheesiness of it. It was so fantastic, and they pulled it off so perfectly. You know, like there's such a balance there, and like Doctor Strange would say some shit like that. Like it wasn't out of character. You know, it's like that made sense to me. But yeah, maybe we give it a little bit of a bump. Maybe we do go 4.25 for the genre. You know, the supernatural elements I would say do elevate it. As opposed to the horror elements.
And the horror wasn't the focal point of the movie. You know,
right,
it's not like it was trying to be just a horror movie. It was a Marvel movie that happened to have horror in it, sort of thing. So, yeah, I think giving it a little bump makes sense there.
Now let's do the critical rating, man. So I'll say, as opposed to other MCU movies, I think this has stylistically the most interesting directorial style. I think it has an immense color palette that I absolutely love. The performances were great. Benedict Cumberbatch fucked it up. Elizabeth Olsen dominated. Zachtel Gomez, she was fucking fantastic too. And again, as opposed to other MCU movies, the third act, the final act of this movie, it's usually where MCU movies falter. Like Eternals, I thought, wow, this is a really creative, original masterpiece. We get to that third act, and it becomes very, very normal Marvel stuff. Shang-Chi, it had a strong third act. That fight between Shang-Chi and Wenwu up against the Dweller in Dark, like up against the wall of the Dweller in Darkness. That shit's really cool too. But it's not as original as this is. Like we haven't seen and won't see a third act like this again in the MCU, I don't think. So it deserves its credit there.
I mean, the writing didn't like have to be complex though. Like I don't know. It's kind of like the writing was weak, but like it was kind of the whole point to make it simple so that we weren't being so confused in like a multiversal movie and stuff.
I think it was extremely effective. I think that's the word I'd use the writing for. I wouldn't say it was good, and I wouldn't say it was bad. I'd say it was effective. You know, like it did what it needed to do. You know, like I'm not left going like, fuck, we're missing something here. You know, like I don't think so. I walked out of that theater the first time perfectly content. I wouldn't say it didn't floor me. I wasn't like, wow, I fucking love that movie. You know, like I was just like, that was good.
Yeah.
That was good. So in that spirit, I think I definitely go pretty high with it. I don't know how high.
It's a different film rating completely. Like I'm trying to compare it to as a film, like how these are made, like our 52-year movies, but like, is it a different film? Is it different or is it the same? Because like
if we're going on the same film rating, and I think we should, it's just low.
Yeah. And that's okay.
Like, and that's fair. Yeah, like that's how these things work, you know? Like I think I end up more in that more towards the 4 range, you know, like in that 4.25, 4.3 range. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Funny to compare this movie with Avatar, A Clockwork Orange, and The Breakfast Club. Just an interesting 3 to choose.
But hey, I mean, like when it comes to these movies, specifically A Clockwork Orange and Avatar, stylistically, balls to the wall. Balls to the wall. Now, story-wise, those were the places where I faltered a little bit in those movies. You know what I'm saying? The Breakfast Club inverted. I loved the story, but stylistically, it could have been a little bit more. So yeah, I think 4.25 is probably a fair rating for Breakfast Club for Multiverse of Madness, and ultimately that shakes it out to a 4.43 out of 5 stars.
I mean, 8.
Which is strong.
Yeah, that's an 8.8, like almost 8.9. So
that's a strong fucking movie. And you know, it's funny if you take the amalgamation of the scores from Moon Knight, it came out to a 4.43 something. So, and we decided, yeah, it's definitely better than Moon Knight, I'd say. I feel a lot better about it than I did.
Yeah, we gave overall Moon Knight a 3.75 in our actual rating for the whole show, but the actual average of the episodes, if we just did that, was a 4.39. So even better than our very loving ratings of per episode, you know, because we were more loving than the whole show.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, this was just, it wasn't a, like an Infinity War. It wasn't, like, it wasn't a movie that was like, oh my God, my mind is fucking blown.
Melted. I can't believe I just watched what I watched. Yeah. No, like it was extremely original and felt different than a lot of the MCU, but I left feeling the way that a normal MCU movie would make me feel. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just like, yeah, cool. Yeah. Cool. So, now that we got that 4.43 out of 5 stars, let's head to the MCU tier list. We've got an A to F tier, you know, A, B, C, D, F, but we've got a few more in there. We got a yo, what the fuck at top, fuck yes at the 2nd tier, hell yeah at the 3rd tier, that's cool at the 4th tier, okay, yeah at the 5th tier, and meh at the bottom tier. So, for me, it elevates above meh. It's definitely not X-Men Last Stand and X-Men Origins Wolverine. It elevates above okay, yeah. I don't think it's Ant-Man. I don't think it's Iron Man 2. I don't think it's Ant-Man and the Wasp. I think it elevates past that's cool. I don't think it's Avengers. I like it more than Avengers. I like it more than Civil War. More than the first Avenger. I think it slides up to hell yeah. I think it slots in there alongside Guardians 2, Endgame, Eternals, Shang-Chi. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and it's definitely not a fuck yes. Not.
the story just didn't quite get me there in that way. You know, I think it was hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
Enjoyable viewing.
Yeah. And it'll be a rewatchable movie, that's for sure. Like whenever it happens to come out on Disney Plus, I'm definitely going to be watching that. Like visually, it's just a cool movie. Glad we got.
Sure.
I saw it in IMAX, and it was really, really nice on the second viewing to watch it in IMAX, because like I know what was happening. I know when the beautiful moments were like coming, so I could just really like sit back and be like, wow, this is like really cool.
Would you recommend seeing it in IMAX? Because I haven't yet. I've only seen it digital.
I mean, it's not like I would recommend seeing Avatar like in IMAX, because that's a movie where you literally get like 5 minutes of just straight visuals, and like that'd be worth it.
Yeah.
This
like Eternals, I would have recommended seeing in IMAX, but this I don't know that you need to.
In IMAX, does it do anything to the audio, or is it just strictly visual?
The audio gets it's more surround sound.
I feel
like they try to
because I felt like in this one, like the music battle and like the sound was just better.
Oh yeah, in IMAX, like they try to portray the traveling of sound. Like if something's coming from the right side of the screen to the left side of the screen, the speakers sway from right to left like the sound does. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, the only reason I did just make the IMAX jump is because like at B&B, which is where we saw it for the second time, like the digital price ticket was like 25 cents less than the IMAX ticket.
Oh yeah, you do that every day.
So I'm like, oh yeah, I'm seeing this in IMAX. I'm seeing this in IMAX. And it was, I wouldn't say it's necessary. Like it doesn't really enhance the movie to the point where I'm like, oh, now I'm only going to watch this in IMAX now, if I go back to the theater, but it was cool. To be able to sit back and be like, whoa. Like whenever they're traveling through, and Strange is like holding America Chavez, and like it's like that trailer moment. Cool. Like it was cool to see that in IMAX. And
all right, well, good. Then Doctor Strange slots in at that hell yeah tier, and I think that's fair.
Yeah, and I guess would you put it more towards like the top of hell yeah, or like because like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 Endgame, Captain Marvel, First Class, like Deadpool, like I feel like that's like the top of hell yeah, where those movies, like in some people's opinion, could maybe go up into fuck yes. Like some people love Endgame, like they just love that movie. There's a kind of a cult following for Deadpool. I mean, we love the Galaxy, Guardians of the Galaxy, which that was kind of in between fuck yes and that in the first place. I don't think
absolutely. I think,
but yeah, I don't think this goes up with that class. Like, I don't think this movie. I don't think
it's not on the edge of being
can go to fuck yes. I don't think.
Yeah, I think it's chilling where it's at. I don't think it'll go up. I don't think it'll go down.
It was just very contained, and like we even said before it came out, like that last trailer made it seem that it was going to be more contained, and we were like excited for that. We're like, oh, thankfully, it's not just this huge multiversal ramification movie where we're just getting mind blown every second. It's like, no, it's like
it was very contained and very effectively done. I really, really enjoyed it, and therein it becomes a hell yeah on the Penny Bloom film scale.
Hell yeah!
So, with that, we conclude this episode on Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. If you would, head to patreon.com/CoraBloom, where we have over 24 hours of exclusive content. All that money goes back into making sure we can put this podcast on at all. So it's mad appreciated. And then if you would, head to Twitter, follow @PennyBloomPod, and follow on Instagram @PennyBloomPodcast. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness ended up shaking out to a 4.43 out of 5 stars on our film scale, on our film rating. And I feel good about that. I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Well, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. Remember, peace, love, and bloom. Is there a good quote from this movie?
Just because one stumbles, and I don't know. Yeah, not really.
Just because someone stumbles and loses their way doesn't mean they are lost forever. I don't know. Know that they'll be loved.
Amen. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.